I'm sharing my screen. Can everyone see it?
Sure can.
Awesome.
Hand over
Okay.
very quickly to Melanie Lippman, our stylist and creative guru for today, who is going to give us a little bit of an insight into how we can use color and style to show our personality to the rest of the world. So Melanie, over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. So today we are going to chat about your powerful style strategy and how to create a reliable wardrobe plan so you could stop wasting your billable hours and energy and start having a greater impact. So we're going to stop staring at the closet, figuring out what to wear, and actually have some strategy around it so it's completely uncomplicated. So we are going to get back hours and mental space, learning what to wear. Learn that you don't have to sacrifice comfort for style. I know that over the pandemic, that is one of our favorite things, is that we get to be comfortable. And I know that my mom told me you had to suffer for beauty, but it's not true anymore. You get to be comfortable and also look polished and put together. So we're going to learn how to stop wasting money on band-aids that aren't serving us. We waste a lot of money just buying things without a strategy behind it. You know, raise your hand, pop in the comments if you have bought something because you got invited somewhere, or you were asked to speak somewhere, or you had a date, you were meeting your friends. What is this? Whatever it is, I feel like that is the thing that we always do, is we go to add to cart as opposed to going and looking in our own closet. So we're going to stop that mentality. And then how to construct your own personal uniform. We all kind of we look at Steve Jobs's black turtleneck and jeans, and we're kind of all in awe of it. But that's not really realistic for most of us. But how do we create our own version of that? So getting dressed every day is super easy. So who am I and why do I get to talk about clothes all day long? I am an image consultant. I worked in clothing, accessories, everything since I was born. My family had an accessory store when I was growing up. And the one thing that I learned really, really, really early on in life, I think I was about 10 years old, is that if someone feels confident and feels good in the way that they look, they want to show up more. They are more present. They are more confident. They're going to do the big ask. They are going to take more space up in the world. So it is my mission to help women show up more powerfully, get their message across, have a greater impact because they feel confident in their skin. So I worked in wholesale for over 10 years. I worked with a brand that was sold Neiman Marcus, Saks, Holt Renfrew. I opened up Harrods for my company, so pretty big deal brand. But one of the things that happened when I was doing that is I started feeling insecure, and I started feeling like I didn't deserve a seat at that table. Let me tell you about the buying group at Harrods. They're all men with white hair and wear perfectly coiffed suits and all of those things. So me, this little whippersnapper from New York that was 23 years old trying to sell them $10,000 bracelets, I all of a sudden was like, oh no, I'm so scared to be here. I don't think I belong here. And so what ended up happening is I used to go shopping all the time to try to find the latest and the greatest and the most wonderful, fabulous thing that was going to make me feel and look like I belong there. And that just didn't work. I wasted a ton of money, a ton of time, and a ton of energy trying to be someone that I wasn't. And it wasn't until I went through this process that we're going to go through today that I was able to use my clothes to empower me and feel good in my clothes and let everything else go. So the one thing that I am super passionate about is creating these strategic wardrobe plans for female attorneys and women and other professional groups to make all of this uncomplicated and seamless, and so you can just show up and be yourself and not having to worry about your whole entire image. So let's chat about this little elephant thing in the room that we have going on. It's getting better, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. Does anyone, we're all kind of in our houses. We're not doing the things that we used to do. We may have gained some weight in the past year. Things aren't so normal. So why are we talking about clothes? And here's what I've learned, from my 10 years being an image consultant, but from so much more from this past year is that the way that we feel, the way that we show up, the image that we give to ourselves and to others around us, it spills over into everything we do. How we show up, our aura, our energy, our success, our confidence. So if we show up with impact and we get dressed and we really, really are focused on taking up space, it spills into every single thing we do. So what we wear matters. It's not just for those around us, it's also for ourselves as well. So the one thing that we really need to realize is that clothing is a conversation with ourselves. It's a signal to ourselves of what's going to happen. So we used to like get in a car, or ride the train, or walk to work. We used to have this like commute where we became like the person who cleaned the toilets at our house to someone who was a partner in a law firm, or someone who was going to like, get a promotion. We had that transition through time, that we were able to transform from person at home to person in the office. We don't have that any longer, but we get to use our clothes to do that. We get to put something on that makes us feel confident and makes us feel powerful. It also goes the other way around. I know myself, if I put on yoga pants and I don't get on that Peloton bike within the first 5 minutes of me putting them on, it ain't happening. So you can use clothes to signal what is going to happen throughout your day. Maybe it's a pair of shoes, a pair of heels if you have an important meeting. Maybe it's a necklace if you want to have some fun. Like, use clothing as a conversation with yourself. The other thing is, it takes 7 seconds to have a first impression. Now with like the scroll and LinkedIn and Instagram and all the things, it's even shorter. Like, that scroll happens really, really quickly. And how you represent yourself, what you put out there, your whole entire presence is the message that you're sending to other people. You're like a walking billboard for yourself. So if you're not taking yourself seriously and dressing like you belong there or the part, then no one else is going to think that you belong there if you don't feel like you belong there. So you want to really dress for the occasion. You want to dress in a way that you're showing up to be present and that you're being there. And why is this hard? I mean, this is like, you're like, okay, this is great information. Why is this thing so challenging? Why is it so complicated? And there's something that's called the injured feminine instinct. And it happens with a lot of women that are very focused, very career driven, maybe a little type A, is they like to do things that they know that they're good at. They only want to do things correctly. They don't want to fail. The idea of doing something creative that they may not be doing perfectly is hard for them. So in order to only be successful, you only want to do what you're good at. So you're constantly focused on work and getting the job done and being successful, that you're letting go of some things that are more creative, that maybe are more playful. And that's what clothing can be, is something that's a little bit more whimsical, more playful. So we tend to, stick to what we know that is okay, as opposed to maybe potentially doing something wrong. So this is why I find that a lot of female attorneys struggle with finding out what their style is and being a little bit more creative. But when we get stuck thinking that clothing is just vain and materialistic, and it's just something that is a whole entire waste of time, we actually end up wasting a lot more time than if we were to think about it in the beginning. So women on average spend 6,668 hours staring in their closet. Like when you open up the closet and you're like, what am I going to wear this morning? It's 20 minutes a day. And we probably do that even in the middle of a pandemic. You figuring out what you're going to wear to Zoom, 10, 20 minutes, that's putting on 4 or 5 shirts. Like, it is a huge time suck to not think about it with strategy and to just like wing it. Like, it's not like winging it and feeling good. It's winging it and not feeling so great. So we end up wasting a lot of time. We end up wasting a lot of money because we just keep buying the same thing over and over and over again, or we keep going shopping. And the other thing also is, when we're not thinking about how we're showing up, is we're not getting to control that first impression, second impression, third impression. Your clothes are a deliberate message that you're sending out there. And when you just leave it up for a whim, you're kind of just saying to people, okay, I really don't care what you think of me. Just, take it as it is. So when you are spending some time and energy focusing on the image you want to put out there, you are saving yourself time, energy, money, and also you get to control the situation and and the impression that you're putting out there. So now that we know that this is all important, how do we actually go about doing this? And the one thing that I'm really, really different from majority of the stylists that I know that are out there is normally when people think about clothes, they think about pretty outfits and they think about cute shoes and they think about looking nice. And while that's all fine and good, we all want the clothes, it's so much more than the clothes. It's so much more than the outfits. So I approach style from a much more strategic tool. I approach it from that nonverbal communication. So the one thing that we need to do first before we could even look at clothes is to really think about the messages that we want our clothing to send. So the first thing that you need to figure out is, how do you want to feel? Like, clothes actually have that much power over you. You get to feel good in your clothes. So you want to think about, number one is, how do you want to feel when you get, when you're going into a situation? Do you want to feel, what emotions do you want to feel? Do you want to be comfortable? Like, what is super important to you about getting dressed? Also, what makes you feel good? I tell my clients to make a thrive list. Like, what are the things excite you about getting dressed? What are the things that you want more of? What's the one thing that you wear that makes you feel confident? Once you kind of start from that place of how you want to feel, everything else kind of goes into place. The second thing you want to realize is, how do you want to make other people around you feel? Yep, our clothes get to do that too. Our clothes send tons and tons of messages about our approachability. Everything from, do not mess with me, what I say is fact, to, I'm a kind ear for you to listen to. I love to use the example of Robin Wright from House of Cards. At the beginning of when the show started, she worked in a non-for-profit. Her clothes were very, very casual. She was not so buttoned up. Her hair was kind of wispy. This is warm and approachable. So light colors, relaxed. On the flip side, when the show ended, she was the First Lady of the United States. Her costume designer actually made her clothing feel uncomfortable on her. So it actually made her literally stand out and change her whole entire aura and her presence. So the structure, the color, the fit of our clothes send those nonverbal cues about formality, how approachable you are, if you're open to new ideas, or if you're someone who's a little bit more closed-minded. So you want to really think about also is, what are the messages that you want to be sending when you're getting dressed each day, especially when you're going into a really important situation? Like, what do you want the other people around you to feel? And then the third is, you're going to do this. You're going to kind of, it's a large, it can be an investment, you buying your clothes. It's you showing up as your nonverbal communication, but you want to know, what's the easiest way for getting dressed to support you? I have clients that just want a capsule wardrobe. They want 30 pieces. They want them to be able to get mixed and matched, and they want to, everything to go in the washing machine. They don't have to take it to the dry cleaner. What are the things that are good for you when it comes to getting dressed, and what are the things that hold you back from not wanting to get dressed? So you really want to think about, how much money you're willing to expend if you are buying something, how much time you're willing to spend getting dressed each day, and how practical you want your wardrobe to be. And then what is it that makes you excited about getting dressed? Is it you just kind of knowing exactly what to wear each day, or is it being able to have some fun and creativity with your wardrobe? Once you outline how this can make you feel successful and support you, then it's so much easier to take the next step. So let's do a little bit of work right now. So I've learned from all of my work being a coach is that if you don't write something down, it's not going to happen. So I want you to, you probably have a phone or something near you, open up an email. Here is my email address. And I want you to answer these 3 questions for me. I want you to answer, what is the one thing, big thing that you want to accomplish in 2021? We all have one. We all have the thing that we were going to do the last year, it didn't happen, that we really want to happen this year. Maybe it is start a podcast. Maybe it is start a blog. Maybe it is signing a new client. Maybe it's getting a new job. What's the one thing that you're really amped to do? Because once you put it in paper, put it down on paper, it has much more of a chance of to happen. Number 2, what do you want someone to think about you when you walk into a room? What are those nonverbal communication things do you want to happen? And then number 3, how much time energy, and money are you willing to spend on your wardrobe? What I found so much is everyone thinks that having a chic, polished, whatever your word is, wardrobe is expensive, and it's not. The idea of going shopping is expensive when you don't have a strategy behind it. If you're just going and spending and spending and spending. But once you put your limitations and what you're looking for down on paper, it's not expensive because you may already own some of the things you have, or you also can go and find something that isn't hundreds of dollars. So it's you really just putting down, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, then you can go and find it, as opposed to it being the big scary thing that is something that costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time to do. So answer these 3 questions and hit send. It doesn't have to be pretty, it doesn't have to be grammatically correct, we just want to get it done. So we're starting the ball rolling. So once now you've outlined this strategy and how you want your clothes to feel, how you want to support you, that's when you can start thinking about the actual clothes, the physical items, the things that are polished and pretty and put together and feel like you and are stylish. So the 2 things though that I want you to keep in mind if you are going online and looking at other people's styles that I find holds my clients back is you want to look for people wearing outfits that you like that actually look like you. Because what we do is we see things on other people and we think that they're not meant for us. So you may see someone wearing a beautiful floral dress and be like, that's really pretty, that looks nice on her, wouldn't look good on me. Wow, those are some awesome pants, I'm too short for that. We have so many limiting beliefs when it comes to us showing up that it's really hard for us to see ourselves getting dressed and looking pretty. But if you're able to see someone that has your personal coloring, your body type, your skin tone, your hair color, your height, your weight, and it looks good on them, it's like it's meant for you. So you don't want to only look at supermodels. That's the problem, is when we start looking at clothes, there's people that are 7 feet tall and 100 pounds. What we need to start going outside of what you only see on Pinterest and kind of taking a deeper dive into clothing and other people so you can see someone that looks like you wearing it. The other thing also is sometimes I have people that are a little bit uncomfortable doing this process for themselves and looking at things that they may picture themselves wearing. So I suggest that they think of someone else. Maybe it's a sister, maybe it's a daughter, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a mom. How would you want them to look if they were in your situation and you were your shoes? So maybe you have a 5-year-old daughter, and when your 5-year-old daughter is 40, you want her to have the best impression of herself. She thinks that she is gorgeous and confident. How is she going to show up? It's so much easier for us to tell a friend, oh, that looks amazing on you, than for us to say, doesn't this look great on me? So it's so much easier to give someone a compliment. So if you're having trouble figuring out what you like, it's sometimes easier to kind of do it for someone else and kind of take yourself out of the equation. So here's an example of something that I did with one of my clients, just to give you an idea how all of this works. Is one of my clients, she was getting a new photo shoot done, and she was going to go for the whole lawyer black blazer arm cross situation. And she's like, you know what? I just don't love, I have those photos already. I don't love them. They don't feel like me. I just don't want another one of them. So what we did is we actually ended up taking the blazer off, having her wear something that's a little bit more open, and then also wearing something that has more of a print or a pattern. So it starts a conversation. So when you there's so many standards that are brought upon in legal of this is how you need to wear, this is what you need to show up, but that doesn't mean that that's always you. So you want to think about other ways that you can show up to start a conversation. And maybe it's just, adding a little bit of color, maybe it's adding a print, maybe it's adding something that is a little bit of a different cut. Just know that there's other things besides what you're seeing everyone else wearing that you can be wearing. So number 2, so we figured out what are all the things that we want our clothes to do for us, how they're going to support us, how they want to make us feel, all of that. Now we get to start talking about the clothes, not just the pictures of the clothes. So one of the things that is really confusing when it comes to style is we always think we need to be looking different and buying something new and reinventing the wheel. And that's actually the furthest thing from the truth. When we think about any iconic woman, whether it's Jackie O, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, whoever it is, there's a certain look there. Like you kind of can picture what they would be wearing. And it's what is called a signature style. So instead of always thinking about doing something different, you actually are much better with repetition. You're better figuring out the few things that look good on you and flatter you and that you like wearing and you are kind of the expert at wearing them, as opposed to keep reinventing the wheel. So any of these women, if you didn't see the front of their face, you only saw the back, you would know it was them because of the cut and the color and the print of what they're wearing. So it's not bad to be repeating yourself. And the way that you do that is through these key silhouettes. So what ends up happening is the fashion industry constantly, like 6 times a year, comes up with a lot of new stuff that you need to have and you need to have. And this is the trap that I fell into. I felt that I worked in the fashion industry and I always needed the latest and greatest, or else people think that I didn't know what was going on. But the thing is that I'm 5'1", and I never in my life have ever been a size 2. So most of the latest and greatest never looked good on me. So it wasn't until I figured out what actually flattered my body type, and I just kept buying and repeating and wearing those same silhouettes. So if you can just learn the few things that look good on you and keep rinsing and repeating, again, not needing to keep going and buying stuff, and it's something that flatters you as opposed to something that isn't super flattering. We'll talk more about this in a second. I like to give the example of skinny jeans a lot because or leggings, super, super popular. Everyone's wearing leggings. But what's the thing about leggings? When you wear leggings, you're spending so much time covering your midsection or your backside because they're showing a part of your body that you don't want hanging out. But if you were just wearing a pair of pants that didn't make some part of your body hang out and they were pants that were flattering, it would be so much easier. So you just want to make smarter choices about things that are flattering on you, so you're not spending so much time trying to cover up things that aren't flattering. And how this comes from is just really embracing our body. A lot of times is when we use clothes to hide. We kind of use clothes as body coverings as opposed to showing ourselves off. So we wear clothes that are sometimes a little bit more big, a little bit boxy, a little bit have some movement in them. And they actually end up making us look larger than we are, even though we don't think that. So you actually have to be in a point where you kind of just embrace what you have going on and learn how to do the most with what you have. There's no, stretching surgery to make you 6 inches taller. There is no special pill that is going to make you lose your COVID weight overnight. So the key to this is actually embracing what your body and learning how you can dress in a way that flatters your body type. So the way what we do is you have to learn how to balance your silhouette. So we all kind of fall into 5 or 6 different body types. It has a lot to do with proportion of our shoulders, our bust line, our waist, and our hips. And once you know about your body type, you will then learn how to balance it out. So a lot of times, I have a lot of clients that are a little bit more bottom heavy than top heavy. So you aren't going to want to wear something, let's say you're a little bit more bottom heavy, like a pair of pants here, you kind of like are directly looking here, but these pants here are wider. So you're actually just not drawing attention to the widest section. Also, if you're a little bit bigger here, if you add some volume up top, it balances it out. Same thing with here. So if you're broader shoulders and you balance, I'll use this one. If you're broader shoulders and you balance that with a wider pant, it just becomes more proportionally flattering. There's so much information about body type. I don't mean to glaze over it, but I could be talking about it for like 4 hours. And everyone has a different body type. So it really has to do with you learning what your body type is and learning how to balance it. But just know that everyone has their own formula. So it's not this big crazy thing that you don't know how to do. And there's not a reason why you can't find pants. You're just probably not looking in the right place or looking for the thing that flatters you. But once you get to learn the thing that flatters you is you know your shape. So you literally get to go online, go to Google, go into a store and say, hey, I am looking for an A-line skirt, or I am looking for a jacket that's fitted in my hips. So you get to learn what is flattering in you and then also what you need to avoid. So you get to let a lot of stuff go when you learn how to dress for your body type. The next thing is also that I'm a very big proponent of is having a signature color palette. I am known on some social media platforms of being a black shamer. And it's not because I don't like black, because I really, really do. It's just that black, especially on Zoom, is just not very flattering. It makes us look washed out. It makes us look like we're tired and all of that. So I like to tell people to avoid wearing black, because you have to work so much harder. It's like wearing pants that don't fit you correctly. Wearing black, you have to work so much harder to make yourself look alive. You're better off just wearing another color. And also black is one of those unapproachable colors too. It's very, very formal, and it just like is kind of off-putting. It doesn't start the conversation. Wearing blue, it makes you show that you're open. Green makes you show that you're open and you're approachable. Black is just like, there's nothing to do with black. Someone can say nice black shirt, but they could be like, oh, I love your blue blazer. So just, you want to think about that connection. And the way that I love to simplify this is by just having 3, 4, 5 colors to go to, and they get to become your black. You get to become the expert of these colors. And you probably already have some signature colors, because we are creatures of habit, that you already have in your closet. So it's basically looking in your closet and looking at everything else you own that's not black. There probably are some colors that you already own, but you just want to learn how to go deeper with it and figure out what goes with it, what's coordinated with it. There is a whole entire science behind color that I talk about, that I teach about in my 4-week course. And it's everything from the colors that look good on you, because there's a whole science behind the colors that flatter you, to the messaging that our colors send, and then also how to wear color. So there's a complete science behind which colors go with which colors. It's really not that complicated. It's just knowing, I like blue, here are the 4 colors I could wear with blue. Or I like beige, these are the 4 colors that I could wear with beige. So there's lots of information out there. It's just knowing that it's out there and how to find it. Again, here's an example of one of the things that I did with my clients. One of my clients felt that she's a workout fiend. She loves working out, and she just never really felt super comfortable in her body, and she hated wearing jeans. Come to find out, she just was wearing jeans that weren't flattering her whole entire life. Again, we're creatures of habit. Someone told us that we should wear these jeans because they look good on us. 7 years later, we're wearing the same exact jeans. It just may be switching 1 or 2 things. Again, this isn't like you need to go throughout your whole entire closet. It's learning how to do better with what you already own and making some smarter decisions going forward on what you should be investing in. Okay. So we know how to think about our wardrobe with strategy. We know what we should be focusing on. What do we do with the clothes now? And then again, there's a formula behind all of this stuff. It's not so complicated. So there are rules for actually creating outfits. One of the major things that I hear from clients is, I feel like I have a lot of great clothes. I just feel like there's always something missing. I'm mixing that like extra oomph. Like it's okay, but I feel like I don't look super polished. And it's the outfit creation and how to pair things. Again, something I spent a whole entire week with in my course. There's this mathematical equation of how to pair things together and learning how to take what you already own and making it so it looks flattering. So one of the biggest rules that was the most mind-blowing thing for me, I remember when I was younger, I would always buy a skirt and a top, and it never looked good together. Like I was always like, in my mind, this would go good, and it never worked. And the reason why is, it's like the Eiffel Tower. Things need to be broken into thirds and not in half. For some reason, we like to cut ourselves in half when creating outfits, and you actually want to be cutting yourself into thirds. So when it goes to the skirt situation, it normally is directly a half. Like normally the shirt is the same exact length of the skirt. But you want to be tucking your shirt in, or you want to be belting it. You want to just proportionally make it make sense and look more cohesive. So here, another thing is we tend to not want to tuck our shirt in or do a half tuck or wear a belt because we think it's unflattering, but that's actually what makes us look frumpy, polished, unpolished, and not look so put together. So you want to start thinking of breaking your outfits into 1/3 versus 2/3. So maybe it's tucking your shirt in, maybe it's a little half tuck, maybe it's something that sits at the waist. That is what is going to create the polished, pulled together look, is by breaking your outfit into thirds instead of 1/2. The other thing is that there's so many rules again, for creating outfits. There's color theory rules, there's rules on mixing prints and patterns, there's rules on accessories. So just know that any of the things that you're like, I'm not so good at this, there's tons of rules on there. And just to know that like you can research and look up what the thing that you feel that you don't understand. It's not this big creative universe that's out that you don't know anything about. There is something there's a rule, there's a guideline, there is something for you to be able to do and to know how to do it powerfully and know how to do it correctly. The other thing also that I love to share with my clients is how to actually wear color and how to make outfits look pulled together and polished. And a great tool is this color pulling method. And so anything that has a print in it, you could actually take the colors out of the print and wear them and create a polished pulled together outfit. So someone with an art degree designed this print, so it's not like it doesn't look good together, so you could actually use that for inspiration. So it's a great way if you go in your closet, anything as a print or a pattern, you could just wear the colors that are also in that print and pattern to create a polished outfit. Same thing here, her shoes, she's just pulling the colors out of there. It's not that complicated. So these are two great tools that you can use to start creating outfits with the stuff that you already have, and so they look polished and put together. And then the other thing is also is you want to make sure that you are taking note when you are going through and that you are finding things that you like, that you want to take a picture of it. Like I always think that, you know, I love this outfit and playing around in my closet. I can't wait to wear it on the next panel. I don't remember what it is. So once you start kind of going through your closet, shopping your own closet, finding stuff that you like that you're pairing together, always take a picture of it. And if it's something that stresses you out, you can do this work. Like you could spend 20 minutes on a weekend and plan your whole entire week. It's that stressful moment of you trying to do it perfectly when you have no time that really stresses you out. So you could actually take 20 minutes, a half an hour over the weekend, try on a few outfits, take pictures of it, and then you're planned for the whole entire week. So having the strategy in place makes it so much easier to get dressed. Again, one of my clients, she loves color, but was always kind of intimidated. She bought color, but she didn't know how to wear it. And she also felt, being in the legal profession, that she just gravitated towards black and gray and brown. And she was really able to learn how to use color, embrace color, and have fun with it. And there is so many, as I mentioned, rules to how to do that. And once you know just a few rules, you can go such a long way, and you probably have so many different outfits in your closet that you haven't even realized. So if you forget every single thing that I told you today, I want you to remember these 4 things that getting dressed sets the tone for each day. And you really want to use it as a tool. Like it's a strategic tool, and just use it. Style is the largest form of nonverbal communication for yourself and for everyone out there. So just realize that your clothes are sending messages, and you want to make sure that those messages are aligned with what you want to accomplish. And that the way to uncomplicate all of this is to really have a signature style and to really find those colors and silhouettes that work for you, as opposed to keep always looking for something new, always looking for someone new. And that if you're able to invest some time and energy up front and figuring out what your style is and what looks good on you, you'll save so much time in the long run. That 6,668 hours get to be condensed so much if you just do a little pre-work, and then you can get dressed very, very quickly each day. And don't wait. I mean, we all have an excuse of why I did not do this, but you have all the information that you need. So definitely don't wait to lose 10 pounds. That's the biggest one that I always hear. Or for COVID to be over, or to get a new client, or to, you know, get a new job, or whatever it is. The time to start using your style and your clothing with strategy is now, because it spills over into everything. And there's no time like the present to get started. So that is all I have for today. If anyone has any questions whatsoever, I'm here for another 10 minutes. Happy to chat with you. And I will stop sharing my screen so I can see all of your faces.
Melanie, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. There's so many different interplays that go on that we don't think about, and it was great. You broke it down into something that made it actually seem manageable. For a person like me who wastes far too much time in my wardrobe staring at it, not knowing what to put on. We did get a few questions coming in, actually. So, Kalia, do you want to ask your first question?
Yeah, I can ask. I did write it down. But what are your thoughts on fast fashion? So there's a kind of clothing store here called Primark. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have.
But pardon?
I have.
Yes, it is very much fast fashion where it's, you know, £6, most likely going to break within a month, but you know what? It might be comfy, might look good. Would you say that, you know, it's beneficial to get something that you know would look good but won't last long because you know that you're going to be switching up your style? You won't be, you know, hanging onto a piece of clothing, the same dress that you'll wear every time?
It depends on your mentality, and it depends on your investment and if you're someone who enjoys shopping. I know that some people kind of like want to do a one and done approach. Like they're like, I just want, you know, 3 blazers, 7 tops, and I will be happy to not have to go into a store ever again. And that really doesn't, isn't a good solution for fast fashion. But I suggest fast fashion for trends. So if you want to try something you're unsure of it, like let's say like the puff sleeve is super popular, you're like, I like that, but I don't know if I'm going to wear it so much, or I don't know if I could wear it to work. I'm only going to wear it on the weekends. It's a good way to try something. I'll tell my clients a lot. I'm a big proponent of telling people that they should wear belts only because it's more polished. I'm not saying you have to like tuck your whole shirt in, but it's a fine waistline is good. So I'll tell my clients to buy, you know, you don't have to invest a lot in a belt. Make sure that you're going to wear it. And then if it's something that you enjoy wearing, then you can go and invest in it. But the majority, I feel like you get to a point where you want your clothes to last and you don't want to have to keep buying and buying. The other thing with fast fashion that I found is it doesn't always fit so well. It's, you know, it's okay, but like the fit's a little bit off. It's bigger in certain places, it's smaller in other places. So it really just depends what you're looking for it for. Again, if it's just to try something, it's perfect. But if you're looking to really build a wardrobe, it's not the place where you're going to go and invest a lot of time and energy. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a great question. Another question that Callie had, and I won't put her on the spot to ask this one out loud, but especially if we're thinking of working in a corporate environment, you know, in an office environment, we all hear the rules that you shouldn't wear tight clothes, you know, leggings aren't appropriate in an office, bodycon dresses, I guess it depends on the industry, but like, any thoughts for people who are thinking about those kinds of, if they are flattering on your body type in the first place?
Right. I mean, it definitely has to do with what's, you know, learning what your body type is and what's flattering on it. I think in a professional setting, I always tell people you don't want your clothes to be louder than you are. Like you don't want the clothes to be the conversation. You want you to be the conversation. The clothes are the accent. The clothes get to add the oomph. So you don't want to be wearing something that can be a conversation. And especially if, you know, it's a male office and it's a female office, that someone will have something to say or an opinion to say about a specific type of dress. I think really thinking about, again, starting off with your style of what you want to be known for, what are the messages, and then learning what are the ways to send those messages is super helpful. When it comes to the style and the structure and the fit of your clothes.
Great. I had a question for you. So if you are relatively junior in your industry, like you've just graduated or you're a recent graduate, or you're moving to a new industry and you have a limited budget, but you've identified your style, you've identified what you want, you know, people's impression to be of you, how you want your clothes to talk about you, where would be your number one thing you would say put your limited budget into in terms of clothing?
I think it depends on the formality of where you're going to be working, but you can never go wrong with having like a beautifully tailored dress. You can never go wrong with having a great, fitting pair of pants. Shirts you can probably get for a little bit more expensive, but pants you want to fit well, and you also want a pair of shoes that are comfortable and aren't going to give you blisters on your feet or break within a few months. So those are the things that I would invest a little bit more. And then also, if you're in a situation where you need to wear a blazer or some sort of a suit, that's also good. Buying a suit is thought of as being something that's like oldish, but if you're in a situation that you need a suit, should invest in one, but then also think about what else can you get to augment that. So just because you bought a navy blazer and a navy pair of pants doesn't mean that that's the only way that you can wear it. You should then, like, again, go back to that color palette. Like, stick to 3 colors, and then, if it's navy blazer, navy pants, then like what are 3 colored shorts that go with navy? Maybe it's another blazer, maybe it's a denim jacket. I'm just making it up, but like, was there another sort of top? Like, if you kind of start with strategy and a color palette and what you're going for, you end up saving so much money in the end, because it's not like you just went in a store and you bought a bunch of random stuff. It's better to be focused. And then also, when you need to add something, what would be the right thing to add, as opposed to going into a store and being, that's so pretty, I'm going to buy it. Like, you need to be pretty strict if you're on a strict budget to make sure that you're actually buying something that is going to augment or up-level your wardrobe.
Fantastic. I wish I'd learned that sooner rather than buying all these random items that didn't go with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do have this strategy of I only buy
It's not fun. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not fun. Like, it's fun going into your closet and knowing what to put on. But the idea of kind of sitting down and thinking about it doesn't seem so fun, but actually you get to create. It's like your own little like Barbie dolls. Like, you get to decide who you want to be, what you want your clothes to be, and then you have a system for it, as opposed to letting things happen to you. And that's what a lot of us have let clothes happen to us. Let us be dictated to of what we're wearing, as opposed to really thinking about it with a little bit more thought and some energy behind it.
If only we had that wardrobe from Clueless. It would do that for us, right? But I guess you're giving us the tools here to be able to do it ourselves by like thinking about our outfit.
I actually there's a virtual closet app that my clients do have, so it's not the same thing, but it's like on your phone where it shows you all your outfits together. So it's kind of like Clueless, but you don't get the yellow suit, unfortunately.
In your wardrobe already. That's amazing. Okay, well, we are rapidly running out of time. So does anybody have a last question for Melanie today? If you don't, it's okay. She's thrown a lot of information at us, and we're going to go away and think about it. And then I'm going to send a follow-up email to all of you with some really, really interesting information. So don't worry if you can't think of your question right now. Melanie, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing those tips, and hopefully like getting a few people unstuck about their style and thinking about their clothing in a different way, and how you can almost use it as a costume for how you want to be seen, but not in a dramatic way necessarily that does the talking for you. It's your accent and your oomph, as you put it, rather than being the focal point of you. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone else for joining us. It was an absolute pleasure to see you. Melanie, welcome back after your holiday as well.
Thank you.
Well rested. And everyone else, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you all again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.